Ready or Not 2 is a heart-pounding gothic horror movie. This movie recap shows a traumatized bride who survives a demonic wedding night alongside her sister, only to find herself trapped in a deadlier global game of survival, where elite billionaires are hunting her down for absolute world domination. Before we continue, here is a quick reminder to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next recap. The scene opens as paramedics rush toward Grace. She sits in a shredded, blood-soaked wedding dress, clutching a cigarette. Medics lift her onto a gurney, but her pulse drops rapidly inside the ambulance. The heart monitor flatlines. The paramedic charges the defibrillator and applies the shock. Grace's body jolts violently, but the display remains flat. Suddenly, Grace's eyes snap open as she gasps for air. She wakes up in a hospital bed with heavy handcuffs chaining her to the rails. Detective Bassett stands over her, announcing her arrest for arson and multiple counts of murder. He explains that the remains of her new in-laws were found scattered across the burned mansion. The detective wants a statement, but Grace looks up and asks the detective for a cigarette instead. Suddenly, the door swings open, and Faith, Grace's estranged sister, walks in. Detective Bassett leaves them alone. Faith scoffs at Grace's state and brags about her own perfect life and handsome boyfriend in New York. Grace tries to explain the absolute supernatural nightmare she just survived. Her husband Alex forced her to draw a card for an initiation ritual. She drew hide and seek, forcing the billionaire Le Damas family to try to sacrifice her before dawn. Grace explains that she held out until sunrise, causing every single family member to violently explode into blue mist. Faith looks at her with disbelief and tells her she is definitely going to prison. Meanwhile, a billionaire and high council leader, Mr. Danforth, receives the dark news that the Le Damas family no longer exists because the bride survived. Mr. Danforth grips his desk and declares that the ball is officially in play. There's going to be a bloody game to win his high seat. He gathers his twin children, Ursula and Titus, and instructs them to do all it takes to keep the high seat. Then they kill their father as part of their game. Back at the hospital, Detective Bassett is wheeling Grace out of the hospital. Suddenly, he is stabbed by Mr. Wilkinson, a high council member. Grace and Faith make a run for the door. They hide from him. Grace grabs Bassett's gun, but Wilkinson finds her. Just as he's about to attack Grace, he explodes. Turns out he was trying to cheat the game. Faith is terrified. Grace quickly unlocks her handcuffs and slides into her torn wedding dress, geared up for war. Before the sisters can leave the building, gas canisters knock them out. Masked men enter. Meanwhile, the high council families begin arriving at the country club estate. They secretly control every major corporation and government on Earth. Ignacio and his son, Felipe. Chen Qing and her son, Chung Fu. Next are Madhu, Virej, and Martina Rajan. Just then, the helicopter carrying Grace and her sister arrive. They gather in an underground chamber known as the Dark Temple. The exclusive attorney steps up to a podium to address the remaining 4 elite dynasties. He explains that because Grace survived the Le Damas ritual, she triggered a rare legal loophole in the LaBelle contract. The absolute highest seat of global power, the place of honor, is now completely vacant. He explains the rules of the new game. The rival families must eliminate Grace before the sun rises. If Grace manages to survive until dawn, she wins the high seat and total control of the world. Grace refuses to play, but the attorney threatens her sister's life until Grace eventually gives in. To ensure Grace plays, the council keeps Faith in the lounge as ultimate leverage. If Grace tries to run, Faith will be killed on the spot. Suddenly, Ignacio's daughter, Francesca, struts into the room. She is Alex Le Damas's bitter ex-fiancée. She glares at Grace and accuses her of standing in the way of Alex and her, but her dad holds her back. The attorney restores order and states that the hunters can only use traditional, historic weapons. He adds a critical warning. Council members are strictly forbidden from harming each other. If a family member kills a rival, their entire bloodline will instantly explode. However, if a hunter dies by any other means, the next person in their line of succession must immediately take their place. Grace and her sister are sedated. The attorney escorts the representatives outside. The hunt is officially on. The Danforth twins take the lead. Along the way, they argue over who gets to wear the ring after winning. Meanwhile, Grace and Faith wake up on a golf field. They are chased by the Danforth twins. Grace grabs Faith's hand, and they sprint at full speed toward the thick forest bordering the fairways. Inside the forest, the sisters slide behind a thick oak tree to catch their breath. Just when they think they're safe, bullets start raining at them but doesn't hit them. It's Ignacio. His daughter proudly watches from the screens in the clubhouse. The others tease her instead, saying her father sucks at shooting. Faith opens a gas cylinder to distract Ignacio, but it causes an explosion instead. The ladies escape. They find themselves in a maintenance building. As Faith starts treating Grace's wounds, they sight a masked hunter. Time to hide again. He finds them and begins to attack Grace. Faith hits him just in time, and the 2 ladies trap him in a heavy-duty washing machine. They switch it on. That's the end for Madhu Rajan. Back at the clubhouse, the attorney informs Virej Rajan that he's next in line for the hunt and has to replace his brother. Virej is a coward, so instead, he suggests his wife Martina, thereby giving up his inheritance. Martina is furious but accepts it. Grace and Faith call 911. They inform them that they're being hunted for sport. The operator asks them their precise location and promises to send help. Suddenly, Chen Qing comes in, holding an ancient sword. She holds up her hands and tells Grace she does not want to hurt her. She explains that she found a massive loophole in the game. If Grace can marry her son, they can both rule the seat and no one has to die. Grace looks at her with pure disgust, asking if joining the council means selling her soul to the underworld forever. Chen Qing shrugs, saying it is just part of the corporate routine, and Grace barks out a definitive no. Suddenly, Ignacio bursts into the room, shooting. He yells at Chen Qing to get out of the way. In the chaos, Chen Qing's heavy blade accidentally slices directly across Ignacio's neck. A rule has been broken. Instantly, Chen Qing violently explodes into a ball of meat chunks. So does her direct bloodline, Chung Fu. Grace and Faith grab some weapons. They argue about their malice. Faith accused Grace of abandoning her at the foster home. Grace defends herself, saying she was looking for a better life for both of them. Grace apologizes and Faith breaks down, confessing that her life is not perfect. She doesn't have a good job or even a boyfriend. The ladies laugh and comfort each other. Meanwhile, the Danforth twins, posing as the cops, tells the ladies to meet them. Suddenly, Grace and Faith ambushes them. All along, they knew about their game. The ladies try to force the twins to open the iron gates, but the twins play mind games to distract them and then overpower them. In the midst of the chaos, Martina drives towards them. Everyone believes this is the end for Grace. Instead, Martina drives through the gate, fleeing the game, richer and safer. Seeing this opportunity, Grace manages to make way for Faith. She tells her sister to run out. Ursula stabs Grace, but Faith returns just in time to get her off Grace. They drive in a golf cart to a reception hall. In the hall, Grace yells at Faith for coming back when she should have escaped. Faith is heartbroken and she leaves. Grace realizes her mistake and calls out for her sister. Instead, she meets a vengeful but dumb Francesa, who uses her projectile wrongly. While the two women fight, Faith is ambushed by Titus in the corridor. Both Grace and Faith gets beaten up severely. Just as Titus is about to kill Faith, Ursula steps in and convinces him to use her to get Grace instead. Grace finally knocks Francesca out with one swing of a keyboard. She runs out looking for Faith. Titus' voice comes on. He demands she sacrifice herself for her sister. Grace finds the control room. She grabs a weapon and glances at the screen before leaving. Her first fatal victim is Francesca. Grace follows her sister's voice and enters the clubhouse. She gets attacked by Felipe and manages to escape him. Just when she thinks she's safe, she sees Faith at gunpoint through the front glass doors. Titus demands she comes out in 3 seconds. To guarantee her and her sister's safety, Grace offers to marry him and secure the seat for him. Grace demands he swear an official oath by LaBelle that no harm will come to them. Titus smiles triumphantly, lowers his weapon, and swears the holy oath. While the attorney immediately prepares the ritual grounds in the dark temple, Ursula approaches Grace in a quiet corner. She tells her that Titus is dangerous and shouldn't have such immense power. Titus listens behind her. He grabs his sister's neck and tells her he never trusted her. Because the rules didn't explicitly state that killing family members carries any supernatural penalty, Titus breaks his own sister's neck to eliminate corporate competition. All the remaining global elites gather in long brown robes. Titus and Grace stand at the altar as the attorney reads the unholy vows. They sign their agreement. The attorney then pronounces them husband and wife, declaring that the high seat of the council now officially belongs to Titus Danforth as the crowd cheers wildly. In the midst of the celebration, Grace grabs a weapon and stabs Titus. She reminds him that it's not against the rules to kill a family member. She wears the ring and everyone else bows before her. Grace announces that as her very first official act, she is completely abdicating the throne and the entire organization. The attorney announces that whoever gets to wear the ring by dawn wins the seat. He also added that someone has to wear the ring, or Mr. LaBelle will be very upset. Grace tears the ring off her finger and throws it into the center of the dark pit in the floor. The room erupts into absolute, primal chaos as wealthy billionaires throw themselves into the pit, biting, scratching, and stabbing each other to grab the ring. Grace grabs Faith's hand, and just as they leave the building, it's dawn. The elites all explode in the pit. The sisters conveniently walk out with a sacrificial goat they rescued. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification to watch more videos like this.